Folks, in my previous two-part video series, I broke down and cleaned my Fluval 2.6 Gallon Spec Tank, added my substrate, as well as my dragonstone, the Seiryu stone package from Aquarium Co-op, and now it's time to give the water a quick test. The tank's been up and running for about a week. We're going to get to the initial planning stage of this build. Coming up, the Fluval 2.6 Gallon Spec Rebuild, the planning part, right now. One of the important things I wanted to do with this build is correct one of the issues I thought I had with my previous build. I selected plants that grew too fast and they got away from me. So in a small tank like this, my new plant selection for the new build are going to include slower growing plants, plants that might be a little bit more manageable for me. My other goal in putting out this video series and showing you this build is hopefully I can give you some ideas if you're planning on setting up a small tank, a 2.6 or 5 gallon nano tank. And in this video, I'm hoping I can give you some plant ideas, slower growing plants that might not get away from you on this build. So I hope it's helpful in that sense if you're interested in setting up a nano tank. Prior to planning, now that the tank's been up and running for about a week, I do want to test the water and see what kind of quality I have. For that, I use the API Freshwater Master Test Kit. So not only am I setting up the tank and planning it, I do want to get the water ready for my new roommates. I don't know who that's going to be yet, but the applications are out. I just need to hear back. There are a lot of videos out there online on the Freshwater Master Test Kit and how to test your water. I'm going to skip right through to the end of the test, but if you'd like to see the way that I do it, just leave me a comment below. I'm happy to do a video for you on it, and I will leave a link to the API Freshwater Master Test Kit below as well. Now, on the initial test, my pH is around 7.4. And the rest of the test is very indicative of a newly set up tank. My ammonia is about 1.5 ppm. We want this to yellow, but I expected this spike. My beneficial bacteria colony is not large enough yet to break down the ammonia in the water and convert it to nitrites. Speaking of nitrites, they're about 0.25 ppm. And my nitrates are hovering around 10 ppm. Now, of course, as my beneficial bacteria colony grows, that ammonia will be further broken down into nitrites. That test will read yellow, the nitrite test will read light blue, and the nitrate test hopefully will stay at about 20 ppm. But that reading in itself is very indicative and expected of a newly set up tank. So I'm going to start draining a little bit of the water so I can plant this, and I'm going to take you through the plant selection on this new build. Now, on the first build, my plant selection I thought I could have done a better job on. They were a little too fast growing for me, so the theme on this one is slow growers. And I'm going with Anubias Congensis. This is a slow-growing plant that has tall, broad leaves. That's going to go in the back right corner of the tank. I'm going to go with Telanthera Cardinalis. This is a slow-growing, beautiful red plant, and a plant that I can use as an iron gauge in my tank. The underside of the leaves on this plant get a nice bright red. I have the Anubias Nana that I had already purchased from my local fish store, and this was the Nana sitting on a bed of Java moss on a lava rock. It's the coolest thing I'd seen. I just had to have it and I bought it, but this is going to create a nice bed for the roommate that I hope to have. I have him in mind if I get the application back and it's a yes. And I do have one more plant I'm going to use as a foreground plant, but I'm going to get to that in a future update, so stay tuned. Now, you can see around the sides after planting, the Telanthera Cardinalis is going in the back left of the tank. Over on the back right is the Anubias Congensis. This is super glued onto a piece of dragonstone with Flourish Glue. It'll grow tall and it'll have nice broad leaves. Again, slow growing plants in this tank. I'm going to give my cycling process a boost here. Now, maybe I'm a softie or have a big heart, but I don't like to use fish to cycle. I like to cycle one of two ways, either with drops of ammonia or with food. Now, if I put a algae wafer here, that algae wafer will decompose and create ammonia, which will feed the beneficial bacteria colony. I'm going to add a little bit more beneficial bacteria into the tank there. And as that food breaks down, that colony will grow exponentially. You've got to feed the colony. Another way to do this is to add drops of ammonia. I like Dr. Tim's ammonium chloride solution. I'll leave a link below to that as well. I just didn't have any left on hand. But that is another way I like to cycle my tanks. And that's the planted part, folks. This is going to keep cycling. I'm going to let the plants set. You can find dmichaelsfishden on Instagram now at dmichaelsfishden. Hope that video was helpful and might have given you an idea for your next nano tank build. As always, folks, please like, comment, and subscribe for future content, and thanks for watching.